This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Police awaiting autopsy as a probe into prisoner's death continues. Police are awaiting an autopsy report to determine the cause of death of a prisoner who died yesterday morning at the Mandeville Police Station lockup. The deceased has been identified as Dwayne Tomlin. He was in custody in relation to break-in offenses. Head of the Manchester Police, Superintendent Lloyd Darby, told the news that Tomlin was among prisoners who were released from their cells at about 5:30 a.m. for a morning routine. The cell was opened for them to have their shower and use the bathroom, and shortly after he showered, he fell ill. The prisoners called out to the police, and he was rushed to the hospital and pronounced dead, said Darby. Darby said Tomlin had been offered bail but remained in custody. According to the police, a second prisoner who has asthma was also rushed to the hospital yesterday but was treated and released. British woman on cocaine charges granted $450,000 bail. A British woman accused of attempting to board a flight with cocaine in her luggage was on Thursday granted $450,000 bail with two sureties in the St. James Parish Court. Khadijah Thomas Jackson, 25, who is of a London address, was ordered to report to the police 3 days per week. A stop order was also imposed by the court. Thomas Jackson, who is charged with possession of, dealing in, and attempting to export cocaine, was ordered to return to court on January 21, 2022. Attorney at law Michael Hemmings, who is representing Thomas Jackson, told the news that the bail application before Parish Judge Sasha Ashley was successful after he was able to prove that his client has relatives with whom she could reside locally. She is a foreign national, so I had to show the court that she has ties to Jamaica, and so I brought a family member to show that fact to the court, said Hemmings. It is being alleged that about 6:30 p.m. on October 27, Thomas Jackson underwent a routine search at the Saxor International Airport while attempting to board a London-bound flight. It is further being alleged that 3 sealed parcels containing cocaine were found in her luggage. She was arrested and later charged. Passing of road traffic regulations must be prioritized, said PSOJ. The private sector organization of Jamaica says the Supreme Court ruling granting an injunction blocking the police from issuing traffic tickets in excess of fines up to 2006 rates highlights another unacceptable lapse by the government. The interim injunction was granted on Wednesday in a claim brought by Maurice Housen against the Attorney General and the Commissioner of Police. The matter is set to be heard in 2023. The PSOJ is again calling the government to complete and approve the regulations related to the Road Traffic Act as an urgent priority. In August 2018, the new Road Traffic Act was approved by the House of Representatives and the Senate, and to date has not been brought into force because of a failure to provide and approve the regulations to the Act, which contains the new fines. This failure has resulted in and may facilitate inconsequential penalties for indiscipline on our roadways and further frustrate the efforts of the law enforcement to bring a sense of law and order to our roadways, the PSOJ asserted. The PSOJ says in recognizing the connection between lawlessness and the breakdown in public order, it established a monitoring committee as a part of a memorandum of understanding signed in 2020 between the organization and the Ministry of National Security. The committee provides oversight to ensure that the government is focused on the timeline that it has set out for the completion of certain tasks to execute and improve the traffic ticket management system, the Jamaica ICE system, regulations to the Noise Abatement Act, and the motorcycle driving simulators in Western Jamaica for the improvement of public order and road safety. According to the PSOJ, despite writing to the Ministry of Transport and formally requesting the inclusion of the enabling of the Road Traffic Act as a monitored process within the MOU, to date no response has been forthcoming. The organization says it made the request as it recognized that the various targets by the Road Safety Council chaired by Prime Minister Andrew Holness has been frustrated by the failure to conclude the regulations and have them passed in the House of Parliament. The PSOJ says the government must send a strong signal to Jamaicans that it is serious about governance and establishing systems to protect the lives of citizens. Digicel vaccine filed for court on November 17. The application brought by a senior data specialist who is seeking an injunction to bar his employer Digicel Jamaica Limited from implementing a mandatory COVID-19 vaccinate or test policy has been set for hearing on November 17. An adjournment was granted on Thursday when the application was heard in chambers at the Supreme Court. The judge, in granting an adjournment, ordered that the defendant Digicel settle legal representation. Doric White, the claimant, is challenging Digicel's policy on the grounds that it is in breach of his contract and constitutional rights. White, who is being represented by attorney-at-law Hadrian Christie, is asking the court to grant an injunction before the substantive claims are heard. He states in court documents that Digicel should be restrained from enforcing the policy in any manner prejudicial to his employment. Digicel had advised its employees in a letter dated September 29 that they had until October 15 to be vaccinated or provide a COVID-19 PCR test every 2 weeks. White, who has been employed at Digicel since 2015, said he decided not to take the vaccine because of religious reasons. He is also not convinced about the safety of the vaccines. Parliament's special sitting unlikely to yield desired results, says attorney. The spotlight will be on Friday's special sitting of the House of Representatives as the government seeks to pass a law which could prevent it from incurring a multi-billion-dollar refund bill to Jamaicans. The sitting is expected to pass a bill entitled the Road Traffic Amendment Validation and Indemnity Act, but attorney-at-law Gavin Goff does not think it will work as intended. The special sitting was convened speedily following Wednesday's Supreme Court injunction stopping the police from issuing traffic tickets in excess of the rates which were charged up to the year 2006. This has the potential to force the government to refund payments which span 15 years and is estimated to cost billions. It is being speculated that the bill to be passed will contain provisions to indemnify the government. But speaking to the news, Mr. Goff argued that the Constitution may prevent the government from being shielded since a section of the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms speaks to a citizen's right to due process.
I don't think it would have the impact they expected it will have, because we already included it in the claim, the fact that this is a breach of everybody's constitutional rights, Mr. Housen's and the entire class of persons whom he represents. And that constitutional right is a right to due process in Section 1611 of the Constitution or the Charter of Rights and Fundamental Freedoms. The government can't indemnify itself against a breach of the constitutional rights of its citizens. To do that, you would have to first amend the Constitution. We all know what that involves and what that would take. So unless that's what they also intend to do tomorrow, i.e. remove that protection from our Constitution, I don't think what they're doing tomorrow will have the intended effect. In other instances, when you are dealing with taxes, license fees, and duties, which had been imposed under the Provisional Collection of Tax Act, we are now dealing with criminal penalties being fined. Criminal penalties are much different than those other type of taxes and duties. And under our Constitution, there is a provision which protects citizens from the retroactive application of a criminal penalty that was higher than it was at the time of the commission of the offense. That protection does not exist for the license duties, for the taxes, and for the fees which they have indemnified themselves in respect of in the past. I don't think it has to be separately challenged. I anticipate that the defendants in the claim are going to put this in evidence if it is passed. And yes, I expect it will be passed because the errors which have been made in terms of the Road Traffic Act and its amendments are across both political parties. So I expect that it will have bipartisan support. I don't know that we will have to amend, but it's already a live issue on the pleadings as well.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.